What's up, Cougs? I'm your host of Unorthodox Sports here on KUGR's YouTube channel and on KUGR Airways. Squabo is my name. With me today, I have two very special co-hosts. As per usual, I will introduce them in just a minute. If you are viewing us live on YouTube right now, or if you're listening to us on the radio later on, be sure to go to our YouTube channel, look up KUGR Radio on YouTube, and hit that subscribe button. We do the show every single week at 6 o'clock on YouTube live, and that is when you will get your most up-to-date sports information is on those Tuesdays at 6 p.m. We are so excited to bring you guys our first show of 2021, excuse me. It's a brand new year. We are so excited to bring you new content. The Seahawks, we already knew that they were in the playoffs, but now we know exactly what seed they're going to be. We know exactly who we're going to play in the first round, and we are super excited to see this beautiful wild card weekend with an additional game from last season. With me today on my left shoulder, Mr. Asher Lind. Asher, great to have you on the show.
Happy New Year, Squabo. Aaron, good to be here. Let's talk some sports.
Absolutely. And on my right shoulder, Mr. Aaron Monson. Aaron, always a pleasure.
Great to be here, Noah. I'm super excited for another one. Happy New Year to everybody. Let's get into this, bro.
Yeah. So without further ado, the Seattle Seahawks this past week or weekend did not play the cleanest game that we've ever played, and we did get some injuries in the game. Jamal Adams injured. Now we're unsure about his status for this Saturday's game versus the Los Angeles Rams, but we ended up winning the game, and we did so by way of a fourth quarter comeback. In this game, Tyler Lockett had 2 touchdown receptions, also reached 100 receptions on the season, not only setting a franchise record, but being the first dude to get 100 receptions in a season in Seattle's franchise history. First of all, that is a truly remarkable accomplishment. DK Metcalf only had 21 yards receiving in the game, but he also broke a record, that franchise record, that being Steve Largent's for most receiving yards in a season. Now DK with 1,303 yards on the season. It wasn't the most pretty game, but we were able to come away with the victory. And Aaron, I want to get your reaction to our win against the 49ers.
This was kind of a normal Seahawks game that we went through, as we have seen all the season, where, it's been on the edge of our seat, and the fourth quarter comeback was really huge. Tyler Lockett, I'm so grateful for Tyler Lockett and what he's able to do. Him setting a franchise record is absolutely incredible, and especially and DK also holding a new record for yards too. But on all honesty, what I've come to notice this year about the Seahawks is it's either or Tyler Lockett or DK Metcalf who have their game, and clearly this was Tyler Lockett's game. Just the 2 touchdown receptions in the fourth quarter is just super clutch, and I love coming away with a sneaky win like that, especially against the 49ers. But it could have been a better win, I guess, but I'm just happy that we ended up winning against our rivals at the end of the season.
Yeah, we talked about it prior to the game. It's never a bad time to beat the 49ers.
Exactly.
I don't remember if we gave score predictions on our show last week, but I know that I did on my other show, and I predicted the score was going to be 27-24. Unfortunately, we missed a PAT, so that made us off on my part, and I was 1 point off on the Niners' end. But still relatively close. I've learned to expect disappointment at this point. When we're supposed to, dominate a team, when they're, they haven't had the best of seasons, even if it's the end of the season, and we have an opportunity to get the 1 seed. Not going to be a blowout victory, right, unfortunately. Ashley, you're not a Seahawks fan, so give us your unbiased opinion on the Seahawks finish to the regular season.
Well, I'm not a Seahawks fan, but I am a Russell Wilson fan, and I definitely got a lot more respect from him after calling the audible there at the last minute to get David Moore his $10,000, $100,000 bonus, whatever it was, to get him that last little shovel pass. That's just kind of the guy you want leading your team, I think, and that just goes to show, not only is he great at football, we saw the comeback and what they were able to do to get back into it and end up beating the Niners, but him having the mindset, him knowing, hey, he's 1 pass away from getting this bonus. The fact that he knows specifically how many catches all of his guys have and how many targets they have and all that kind of information. It just goes to show you the kind of leader that he is, and I think that will say a lot for them moving forward. And I was really impressed. Overall defense too. We've been talking about that all year. It's kind of beating a dead horse at this point, but they need one of my keys I'll talk about later, is having a completely healthy defense, because I think that's going to be what makes them a Super Bowl team, because we all know what they're capable of on offense. Metcalf, Lockett, probably top 2, top 3 wide receiver duos in these playoffs this year, and they're going to be totally fine. Them and Russ will cook, but it's that defense that will be able to take them to the next level, and that's where they need everyone to be healthy.
Well, and yeah, no question about it. If we don't have Jamal Adams, that's going to be a huge blow this week. We also don't know if we're going to be playing against Jared Goff. What Pete Carroll said in press conference, I think is really important towards your point. And it's that earlier on in the season, we were playing a lot of much more suspect defenses. And over the past couple of weeks, while the teams haven't had the best records necessarily, we've been playing some really tough playoff caliber defenses. And Robert Saleh is one of the top head coach candidates as a coordinator as anybody in the NFL right now. He's probably going to get a head coaching job in just a couple of days, if not weeks. And then the Rams obviously have a really good defense, top in the NFL, top 5 in the NFL. And then the Washington football team as well, a top 5 team defense in the NFL. 2 of those teams are going to the playoffs. One of them we're obviously playing this week. So we've been playing a lot more difficult defenses. We're finding ways to win games. And as long as we continue to do that, I believe in our abilities moving forward. Rashad Penny cramped up in that game. He's still set to have his breakout performance. Hopefully he can have it this week, or at least throughout the playoffs. Gentlemen, the game this week is very nerve-wracking. Earlier on in the season, if there was one team, and I was talking about this with my buddy Norb, if there was one team that we didn't want to play in the playoffs based on matchups, how about the team that kicks our butts before the last time we played them? They had won 5 of the last 6 before that game. They had won 8 of the last 11. Sean McVay has torched us, and that franchise has torched us over the past couple of years. But after that game, and in the second half, the fourth down stand, the momentum shift, the Jordan Brooks anticipation on defense, and our ability to just control it when it mattered the most. The 2 big drives in that game, the first drive of the second half and the last drive of the second half, where Russell Wilson was able to go down the field and get touchdowns that ended up being the difference in the game. Gentlemen, I want to talk about our keys to this game and our overall perception about playing the Rams. Aaron, let's go to you. How do you feel about playing the Rams in this week?
I don't know why you're that worried, to be completely honest with you. I think us playing them last week is, just a proving statement that we can take this team on with ease. And
ease.
Okay,
it was
with
6-6
ease,
at halftime.
It was 6-6 at halftime, but then we dominated, dude. I'm really I understand that it's going to be a close game, but I'm not as worried as I would have been if we had lost to them this last time. So I think it's going to be a close one.
Because we'd be in LA if we had lost.
Well, exactly, which is why I'm not as worried. And so my 3 keys to the game, you want those now, or do you want to wait a little bit?
Go for it.
Okay, so number 1 is just to win the turnover battle. It's going to be a huge one.
No.
When we win turnover battles, we win games. That's one of your keys, Squelbo, for a lot of the Seahawks games throughout this year, right? This whole season is that when we win the turnover battle, we win the games.
Yep.
And secondly, don't allow more than 300 yards throughout. No. And I just think that's that's key. Sorry, go ahead.
So you're saying everything 300 total yards?
Yeah, 300 total yards for the Rams. I think that's if that's a consistent win. It's going to be tough, and especially if Jamal Adams is a game day decision. If you saw that earlier, I saw that on ESPN. And so I think, and then just let Russ run the field. Honestly, the guy knows what he's doing. He knows what this defense is looking after him. Aaron Donald is a threat, and he's huge. But this is going to be our 3rd time playing him this year, especially in Lumen Field. I think it's going to be okay. Seahawks win 27-23.
27-23. I wish I was as confident as you are. I don't even know how to phrase it. It feels like one of those games. Back in 2012, there was one of those games, and I don't feel like it's going to be a blowout like this. I really don't. I think this is going to be a much better game. But it feels like one of those games, like in 2012, when we were playing the 49ers on Sunday Night Football after Richard Sherman was supposedly suspended, but apparently they had contaminated his pee cup, and the positive drug test got countered. So he ended up playing in the game and returning a blocked field goal for a touchdown. Seattle ended up blowing out the 49ers in that game, and kind of the statement that set us on our run of dominating the division. And I think the last game and this game potentially the last game against the Rams, and then this game potentially could show our dominance over this division. I don't think it's going to be a blowout victory, but I could see it turning into one, especially if Jared Goff is not out there. Although it could be argued it'd be better for us if Jared Goff was out there, because I don't know if John Wolford would have thrown that ball to Quandre Diggs in that last matchup. So
I don't think so either.
It's up for debate. I think it's going to be a close game, but I want to get Asher's thoughts on this matchup. Asher, how do you feel about this game, and what are your keys for a Seahawks victory?
I do think it'll be a close one because both games that each team split during the regular season. I think it'll be close, and I think my biggest key is DK's got to outplay Jalen Ramsey, because we know their best cornerback, probably the best cornerback in the league, is going to go up against Seattle's best receiver. In the 2 regular season games, Ramsey held DK to 8 total catches and 87 total yards, and that's what we expect DK Metcalf to get in one game, like total, like through 4 quarters. And to hold a man like DK to those numbers in 8 quarters of football is remarkable for Ramsey. And granted, he didn't win both those games, but Ramsey has effectively shut Metcalf down for both those games. And so I think that's the biggest key, is getting Metcalf going early and often. And then to extend to that, I think the offense should aim for 30 points. They failed to do that both times against the Rams, so I feel like that should be a good goal for them. Get the offense clicking a little, get DCAF open, Tyler Lockett, David Moore, etc. Like just find your guys. Russ knows what to do. He's beaten the Rams fairly recently, just last week, so he knows how to beat them for sure. And then one more key: if it is Goff, or even if it's Wolford, get to Goff, get to Wolford, whoever it is. Healthy Jamal Adams will be a big key in that. Carlos Dunlap. They've set the tone ever since they stepped foot in Seattle, and they've definitely changed the culture of Seattle's defense and the entire franchise, I think, based on how the defense was performing before they got there. Like it's a total 180 compared to pre-Jamal Adams and Carlos Dunlap. So they need to be active, get to the quarterback, force him to make bad decisions. Because like you said earlier, Aaron and Squabo, I guess, the throw to Diggs from Goff was just a poor decision, and that was forced in part by the defensive line. So being able to do that again will set you up for success.
First off, before we go to Noah, real quick, I really like the nickname Decaf, by the way. I think that's good. We should start calling Decaf. Yeah, I liked it. Sorry, no, my bad. Go ahead.
No. No apology necessary. I completely agree. Look, when we talk about this matchup, I'm going to have to triple down. I'm going to have to not double. I'm going to triple down on my DK take, because heading into the first matchup, and I love doing this KUGR show. It's not the only show that I do every week. I do my own show on DJ Squabble on YouTube, and I do another show on Wednesdays. We're doing it tomorrow on my buddy. He's a YouTuber at Norbcam on YouTube. And on Norbcam's show early on in the season, right before the first Seahawks versus Rams matchup, we were talking about how at that point of the season, DK in week 2 had dominated Stephon Gilmore, and Stephon Gilmore was the defensive player of the year last year. So we're looking at it like, okay, DK just destroyed the best corner in the league. Now he gets a chance against Ramsey. Last year, he didn't have that much success against Ramsey in those games, but it was also quite a bit on Russell Wilson. Early on in this season, I predicted that DK was going to have a breakout performance, because we weren't hot at that point because we had just lost to the Cardinals, or in Buffalo. But DK was having a breakout season. He was obviously on pace to break a franchise record, and I wanted it to be the moment where DK showed the world how dominant he could be, even against Jalen Ramsey. And in that game, so for the record, I predicted 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards. In that game, it didn't turn out like that at all. And having watched the game very closely and rewatching parts of it, DK Metcalf was open a lot in that game, and Russell Wilson was missing him. And Russell Wilson went through a stretch where he wasn't taking those one-on-one shots. And I posted videos about it, and I broke it down. I believe that Russell Wilson was going through a rough time, and his confidence was missing at that point of the season. Then we go back to the later game in the season, and we start rolling again, and we start winning games, and we have an opportunity to win the division. And so I doubled down, and I predicted DK is going to have the same stats that I predicted for the first game in this game, because now he has an opportunity to finally do it, and I just predicted it for the wrong matchup. It didn't happen again. And in the last game, DK wasn't that involved once again, and he didn't have too many yards, but we did end up winning the ball game. I'm tripling down. I say when it matters the most, when it's playoff time, when it's put up or shut up, we go to our brand new beast mode in DK Metcalf. I completely agree with Asher that one of our keys to this game needs to be get DK involved early. Because when DK is involved early, that is like handing the ball to beast mode in the first quarter. It gets... We're not going to have a crowd, but it gets our guys going. It gets our guys talking. It gets DK chirping. If DK is successful, he's going to let the defense hear about it. He's flexing. He's throwing the football. He's talking his trash. He's getting opponents to swing on him, like all this stuff. He's annoying. He's frustrating. And when he gets going, it sends a message to the defense. And if all season long Jalen Ramsey has done a good job against DK, and DK hasn't been very productive against Ramsey and against the Rams, then what kind of message would it send if DK has like 40 yards on the first drive and a touchdown to the Rams? What message does that send for a team that scored only 9 points in the last game against us? So I say get DK involved early. Feel free to take a shot to him. Let's try and get this man the ball early on in this ball game to send a message. I also agree with one of the keys from Aaron, which he so kindly referenced me when he brought it up. Look, we need to win the turnover battle. And Pete Carroll talked about in press conference when we're either tied or winning the turnover battle. I think all season long we've won every single game. And I think that was all 12 games. We won the turnover battle. So that is obviously a very, very important thing for us. Now, last time we played the Rams, I said a couple of keys. I said we need to win the sack battle. And we ended up not, but we still won the game. So, while yes, I think winning the sack battle would have definitely assured us that victory even more, we still won the game, so I'm throwing out that key. I'm going away from it. The new key that I have is my third, is I need us to be more efficient on third down. The reason being, that is how you keep your offense on the field and your defense off the field. We were sucky on third down. We lost time of possession in that game, even though we won by 11 points. That shows you how close that game was and how much closer than the score might indicate. Yes, Russell Wilson made great plays when it mattered the most, and we're going to trust him to continue to do so. But regardless, we need to be more efficient on third down. And Aaron, I believe we can handle these guys.
Easy.
If we can. Gentlemen, anything else you want to add about this matchup before we get into our score predictions during Scrabble 66?
Yeah, I guess I can add one more thing. It's like if Jalen Ramsey and DK are probably the most trash-talking people in the entire NFL, like as we've seen earlier on, and just throughout the season. And I honestly think that DK is ready to beat Jalen Ramsey again twice. And so I think that, but Jalen Ramsey also knows that. And Jalen Ramsey is arguably, Asher said earlier, the best corner in the league. Mm-hmm. But also arguably DK Metcalf is the best receiver in the league. And so that's why I honestly think that DK he's bigger than him. And I think he's just going to out-muscle him eventually because he's bigger than Jalen Ramsey in general. And it's because he's so Megatron-esque. And so that's why I'm so confident, is because I think it's going to be easier than people are saying, due to the fact that DK is so much bigger than Jalen Ramsey.
Well, and I think we got over the hump in the last game. I really do.
Yeah, definitely.
The fact that we got the stop on fourth down when we've been beaten by this team multiple times on fourth down, when it's either been by Johnny Hecker out of Bothell, Washington on a fourth down conversion.
Dude Perfect video star, by the way. Fun fact. My favorite Dude Perfect video ever.
Excellent video. No, I agree. It's not my favorite, but it's up there.
It's a top 5 for sure.
Yeah, easy.
But Hecker beat us, and then there was the fumble in that game. But regardless, Hecker on fourth down, his conversion. Jared Goff has beat us with a quarterback sneak on our home field, which was devastating, and that ended our game in that matchup. So the fact that we were able to get the stop on 4 straight downs, the fact that now this running back group is injured for the Rams, they don't know what's happening with Jared Goff. If they have Jared Goff, he's probably only going to be about 80%, having just had surgery, and it's on his throwing hand, which is not ever a good thing for a quarterback. So I believe that we just got over the hump, and I believe that this is the game where we start to step on their throats and show them that team that just beat them can be a lot better. And this is the way that we do it, by getting DK involved early. We're going to get into score predictions in just a minute. Asher, is there anything you wanted to add?
I think we've covered it all. Just let Russ cook, find DK, and y'all should be good.
All right. We will talk about your Pittsburgh Steelers in a little bit. You guys lost this week, but that doesn't mean much because you held it very close against Cleveland, and you do get a rematch with TJ Watt and Big Ben. So that's going to be fun and advantageous for you. And while you guys are bringing more pieces on, Cleveland's going to be losing some pieces, including their head coach, who now has contracted COVID.
Oh, dude.
Which is really, really devastating,
Wow.
especially considering the fact that he is calling plays for the Cleveland Browns. So that makes things extremely difficult for Cleveland. We'll talk about that Cleveland matchup in just a little bit. The first matchup that we want to talk about, because as you guys will know, this is the first year that the NFL has extended their playoffs from 6 teams to 7 teams, which means on Wild Card Weekend, instead of there being 4 games, now there are 6. So more football is always great. There's 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday. We have an early game. We are the second game on the weekend. The Seahawks are. But we're going to go through all those games in order. Squabble 66 is a segment I do on my other show. NFL betting odds. We're going for and against the spreads. We don't really cover the plus minuses. But Indy at Buffalo. Buffalo is a 7-point favorite in this matchup. Buffalo is arguably the hottest team in the NFL heading into the playoffs. They've been absolutely dominant. The last game they lost was on a Hail Murray, and that team didn't end up making the playoffs, but DeAndre Hopkins ended up on a whole bunch of kids' walls. Buffalo, a 7-point favorite in this game. Indy hasn't been as impressive as late, and Phillip Rivers clearly has a lot of question marks. I'm taking Buffalo.
Old.
I'm swallowing the points here, and a lot of people are speculating this might be his last game in the NFL. Salutes to a good career. You stuck around a very long time, but I feel like it ends just the way that it went the entire rest of your career as soon as you got to the playoffs. Buffalo, 34-20. Phillip Rivers. It's been nice knowing you. Carson Wentz to Indy. Aaron, let's go to you. Buffalo -7 versus Indy.
Damn, bro. Savage over here. You're just throwing shots at one of the oldest dudes in the league. No, I definitely think the Colts stand no chance against the Bills. I got Bills by 13. Final score 27-14 Buffalo.
I like it. Asher.
Mine's pretty close to Squabbo's. I have Buffalo winning 35-21, so
Ooh.
pretty close there. Because Buffalo has scored 32 points in 6 of their last 8 games, and Stephon Diggs led the league in yards this year. Just absolutely, that's probably the best trade in the NFL. the Diggs for Jefferson trade, just a total win-win both sides. Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate, I think he should get it, and your league-leading receiver. Just absolutely nothing wrong with that trade. And Diggs just torched everyone. And I think he's going to do the exact same thing to Indy.
There was nothing wrong with that trade, but there should have been, okay? Just for the record, because Jefferson shouldn't have been there had the Eagles not passed on Jefferson, who clearly turned out to be, and as a lot of us knew at the time, he was the most polished receiver coming out of that draft. He literally had triple the touchdowns and receiving yards that Rager had in their final year in college, and got passed on for Rager, who ended up dropping a big pass in their last game of the season. So things not going good in Philly. We're not even touching on that, which is just devastating how the Giants season was ended by Hurts getting benched. But the Los Angeles Rams at Seattle. Seattle is a 4-point favorite in this game. I want to get your guys' thoughts before I go in on this. Aaron, Seahawks fan, let's go to you. Seattle
Hawks by
-4.
3.
Hawks by 3?
You know, I'm realizing now that that's completely different than the first segment score. I didn't even think about that. It's gonna be closer. I'm sticking with my previous one. Hawks up 27-23. Wow, that's embarrassing. Okay.
No, 27-23. That's exactly at the 4 points. So you're swallowing the points.
Yeah, I'm swallowing the points. Yeah.
Okay. Asher, not a Seahawks fan. Let's go to you.
I have Seahawks by 3. I don't think they cover. I think it'll be a lot closer. The big thing for me is Metcalf and Ramsey, whoever is able to play better. I think Seattle is the better team. I think they have the better quarterback, better coach. I think Pete Carroll's just more experienced. McVay's on the rise though. I think McVay's a great coach. I just think Pete Carroll, Wilson, DK are just a little too much. I got Seahawks 23, Rams 20.
That is so crazy that you said that, because when I'm thinking about this game, I think this game could go a couple of different ways. Obviously,
a winner, a loss, yeah.
No. I just mean in terms of score.
No ties in the playoffs, so that one's out.
But yeah, there's one. It could go one of two ways, but no. I think either it's going to be one of those low-scoring, like back and forth, like Seattle shouldn't be playing this bad, but somehow gets to win. 22-20 was a score I was thinking if it's like that. But I don't think that's how it goes down. I think Seattle sets the tone a little bit in this game. I think Seattle is comfortable a little bit in this game. And I think towards the end of the game, it's going to be a 10-point game. I think it's going to be 28-18, something along those
18?
lines. Lots of field goals.
6 field goals? Okay, all right.
Ben don't break.
Okay.
Ben don't break.
Buffalo did it.
Missed
That's a
PATs
bendy
happen
stick,
too.
bro. That's pretty bendy.
But so I think it's like 28-18. They get a field goal, or it's a touchdown game and they score late. It comes down to an onside kick, and I think Seattle recovers. 28-21 final score. I'm with Aaron. I am swallowing the points here. I think Seattle wins, and I think it's over a little bit before it's actually over. The next matchup that we're going to talk about, though, Washington sneaks into the playoffs after the Eagles throw the end of the football game on Sunday night, the 256th game of the regular season, the final game of the regular season, and Washington squeaks into the playoffs. After the game, Chase Young can be heard on camera saying he wants Tom, he wants Brady. He wants to go after Chase Young, the elite game wrecker for the Washington football team, wants to go after Tom Brady and harass him. Tampa Bay is a 9-point favorite in this game, but it is important to mention that throughout the Tom Brady Patriots dynasty in New England, the biggest thing that's taken down Brady, the entire dynasty, has been an elite pass rush, whether it be the Broncos of the world, whether it be Philly in the Super Bowl, whether there's a lot of the Giants multiple times. The elite pass rush was what knocked out New England in the playoffs. So the fact that Washington has such an elite pass rush, arguably the best pass rush in the game, I think keeps this game close. And I think this game is reasonable, even though Tampa Bay is the better team, and I think Tampa Bay might look better next week than they do this week, but they do play till next week because they win the game 27-20. I'm going against the points here. I'm saying Washington keeps it close, but Tampa does win the ball game. Aaron, let's go to
you. I'm with you on that one. I think the Washington football team is definitely going to be a threat to Tom Brady because their pass rushes are as top notch. Arguably can be top 3 in the league, I would say, just based off Chase Young. But in all honesty, I don't think it's going to be enough to stop Tampa Bay. And I'm also I'm not taking the points. The Bucs are going to win by 7. It's going to be a 35-28 score.
We agree. Asher.
Part of me agrees with Aaron. I have the football team scoring 28 points, but I only have the Buccaneers scoring 24 points. I'm gonna take the upset on this one. I'm gonna take the upset.
Goodness.
I hopped aboard the Chase Young hype train. I like the swagger he's got and that pass rush. Like I want to say they're top tier because Pittsburgh's pass rush is missing a couple players like Dupree and Devin Bush. So right now, as it stands, with Pittsburgh having so many injuries, I think Washington is up there with them, and I think they can pull it off. They've got a lot of momentum. They beat Pittsburgh. They've started to pull it out. They're probably the best under 500 team I've seen play.
Oh yeah.
Because the last time someone went 7-9, it was the 2011 Panthers, I think, and they barely squeaked
7-8-1.
That division. Yeah, that division was just really bad that year. But I like where Washington's at, and I have to give them credit. I didn't think they would beat the Steelers, but they certainly proved me wrong, and they proved a lot of people wrong. And Chase Young has definitely showed that he's worth where Washington took him in the draft. And part of me also wants to see Tom Brady lose to a rookie pass rusher.
How great that would be!
How great would that be?
Oh
honestly,
my lord, it's like Christmas but better. Like,
See,
God.
I agree with that, but I also can't stand the Green Bay Packers, and I don't want to see them get a bye against Washington.
You're saying you prefer Tom Brady over the Packers?
I definitely prefer Tampa Bay over the Packers. And I'd rather us play Tampa down the line than Green Bay because Tom
as a Seahawks
Brady,
fan, that makes sense.
Yeah, you're right.
Has no mobility, and because we'd be at home in that ball game rather than on the road. I don't want to go up to Green Bay in late January. So, but Asher, I think it's a really interesting point that you bring up that you think that Washington can win this game because I could see it happening. And I would love to see the discuss. There were a couple times this year where we saw things that we haven't really ever seen from Tom Brady. What was it, 38-3 against the Saints? That was one of those things where we were like, oh, that's what it's like to be human for Tom Brady. And this could be one of those games where we go to the playoffs. These Washington football team players are going to be hyped up and ready to go after Tom Brady. These guys are going to be motivated as the underdogs, as the 2010 Seahawks were against the former Super Bowl champions in the New Orleans Saints to knock them off in the first round of the playoffs. I could see a similar performance from Washington, extremely motivated. I do think it's a defensive battle. I think both defenses are really good. I think Tampa Bay is going to struggle at times in this game, but I am going to stick with Tampa to win the ball game and advance to play Green Bay in the next round. By the way, if Tampa plays Green Bay in the next round, just think about the dynamics heading into that game.
True.
Earlier in the season, Green Bay comes to Tampa and gets a spanking. Aaron Rodgers looks mortal, human, not MVP. 2 picks in the game, pick 6, and Tampa Bay made them look human. Green Bay ends up as the number 1 seed. This game would be in Green Bay, but I really, really, really want to see that rematch, which means I need Tampa Bay to win this week. Baltimore -3 at Tennessee. Baltimore trending one way, Tennessee trending the other. Tennessee knocked out Baltimore in Baltimore last year. This is a matchup that Tennessee dominated, or that Tennessee won this year as well. But I think Baltimore's trending in the right direction. And I think Baltimore finally gets over the hump in this game. I've been extremely disappointed by Tennessee's defense over the past couple of weeks, starting with how they got annihilated by the Cleveland Browns in the first half, making Baker look like he was worth every penny that he is going to get. But we'll figure out how real Baker is down the stretch of the season. Baltimore -3 at Tennessee. I'm taking Baltimore. I'm swallowing the points. 34-28. Baltimore gets it done. Lamar's first playoff victory, and they advance in the playoffs, which is a happy story. And just remember, I want to point this out real quick, and then I'm going to get you guys score predictions for this game. Last year, when Baltimore got eliminated in their first playoff game, a lot of people, I think myself included, had Baltimore going to the Super Bowl. And Lamar Jackson was the MVP. They were riding high into the playoffs. Tennessee wasn't even supposed to be in that game. Tennessee wasn't supposed to upset New England in the first round. People were looking at Tennessee as a joke. Barely squeaking into the playoffs at 9-7, and then Tennessee comes in and pounds it down Baltimore's throat. They get humiliated. They expected their season to continue and are shocked and devastated and get eliminated just like that. Right when that happened, I came out and said that the only thing that Lamar Jackson can do to fix this reputation that he has, and what sucks for Baltimore, is that nothing matters until right now. The next playoff game where you have an opportunity to fix your playoff woes. And that's why I think Baltimore in this game finally gets it done, and it's a really happy story. They get momentum moving on into the next round. I don't know if they'll make it past the next round, but regardless, I do think that they get there 34-28. Aaron, let's go to you.
And that does sound like a really happy story, Noah. And, it's just heartwarming to think about, the Ravens just getting that dub after being severely upset by the Titans last year. But it's not going to change this year.
Yeah.
The Titans are going to win by 3. The final score is going to be 27-24. Derrick Henry's going to rush for 185 yards with 2 touchdowns, and he's going to make Lamar Jackson look bad. Titans win.
Honestly, some of my friends call me a sadist. I don't claim that title, but I do love seeing football teams just be devastated. And
so do I.
I would love to see the great story for Lamar. I will find joy either way. But I also would love to see the devastation of 0-3 in the playoffs. Now there's really nothing you can do until next playoff game.
Yep.
And you go in to that playoff game knowing, what if you play Tennessee again? Like, they just kicked your butt the last 2 playoffs, and now
So
you have to
funny.
play them again with your entire reputation on the line at that
Honestly.
point. What do you even do
Yeah.
for Lamar Jackson at that point?
Honestly, one of my really good buddies is a huge Ravens fan, and there's always just so much smack talk that I give to him, like vice versa about the Seahawks. And I would just love to see him physically distraught over this loss. I would just love to see it.
Same. Definitely the fun thing to watch. Speaking of people that would love to see the Ravens fans in distraught, Asher, let's go to you.
So our score, I have Tennessee winning, but my score is pretty similar to yours. No, I have them winning 33-28. So I was just a point off compared to yours. I just think Derrick Henry is just too much for them. I saw this on Twitter the other day when the leading rushers were posted. If Derrick Henry did not have a single first half touch the entire season, he still would have finished 4th. He would have finished right between Aaron Jones and David Montgomery. And that's just absolutely mind-boggling to me. I just think Derrick Henry's too much. I don't know if he'll rush for 185 and 2, like Aaron was talking about, but I think he goes off against Baltimore, and I think Tennessee gets it done.
Asher, I'm a little bit concerned at this point. Did you put cameras up in here? Because our scores have been pretty similar. I know there's the one camera in front, but it can't see my notes. So I'm thinking you put a bug in here, bro. I'm a little... let's just say Asher sus at this point. Chicago at New Orleans. New Orleans, the biggest favorite in Wild Card Weekend, 9.5 points. That is a lot of points to swallow. Chicago, a heavy underdog. New Orleans has struggled at times, but this past week didn't have AK-47 and still dominated the ball game against Carolina, contrary to my beliefs. New Orleans, I say, wins this game dominant fashion, 30-17. Trubisky is horrible, and he gets embarrassed in the playoffs because he doesn't really belong there. Aaron, let's go to you.
Mitch Trubisky is a joke. He's the biggest joke in the NFL. But hot take, but I'm not wrong. It's not going to even be a close game, dude. It's going to be the New Orleans Saints absolutely dominating. New Orleans by 21 points, 35-14 Saints.
Oh, man. That is an annihilation. Why don't Chicago just upset? Remember,
Last time the Bears were good was 1985. I'm just saying that right now.
Okay, when's the last time Kirk Cousins won a huge playoff game? When's the last time Kirk Cousins?
Saints.
Exactly, and that was the only
Saints.
team.
Not the Bears, the Saints.
Look, New Orleans is a team that every single year for the past 3 years has gotten embarrassed in the playoffs, lost a game that they shouldn't have lost, whether it be pass interference, Kirk Cousins, or it's just not going to happen yet. Like, they could still lose a game really bad. It just doesn't have to be against this team. But
you can try to convince me all you want. No, it's not changing. It's the Saints are going to win. No.
35-14.
Yes.
Can we get like some cases of dew on that? Can we?
Yeah, no, I'll put anything down on that, bro. I will take you to the house.
All right, so what's the spread here? What's the spread you got? What's the most points you'll give me? How many points are you guys gonna win by?
How many points are the Saints going to win by?
Because I say it's a 13-point win. I'll meet you at 18 if the Saints win by more than 18.
Perfect. What are we putting down?
Let's. We're making it live.
Case of Mountain Dew, is that what you said? Like
Yep.
case of Dew?
Let's do a case of Mountain Dew.
Cool.
Okay.
Diet or regular?
Diet.
Oh, it's got to be regular. Come on, none of that deck.
All right, regular. Peer
It's
pressure
got to
wins.
be regular.
Peer
All right,
pressure
well,
wins once again.
All right. I'm coming back to school in a week. I'll make sure to come collect my Mountain Dew from you.
No, be sure to bring it. Be sure to bring it. You may as well purchase that now. 18 points. I'm writing that down.
Yeah.
18 points. And remember, I said greater than. So greater than 18 points. 19 or more point victory. You can check the tape. I said greater than.
I thought you said less than.
No, I'm saying 18 or less. But I said you're saying it's going to be more than 18.
Yes, 18 or more.
Case of Dew. Case of Dew. Dew by
Are we
Aaron.
talking like a 32 pack, a 12 pack?
Just a little 6-pack. Just a little 6-pack. You're good.
Just a little 6-pack?
Six-pack
Okay.
bottles. Unless you're feeling generous, feel free
Okay.
to.
All right.
If you want to
feel free
really do the
surprise me.
do, then hey, by all means.
Asher, what are your thoughts about this game? New Orleans, a 9.5 point favorite.
So I must have unconsciously put a camera in somewhere in you because it's only off by 3 on this one. I have 40-17 New Orleans. I don't know how it's that close, but yeah, I think the Saints just go to town. I think Alvin Kamara just runs right through them because when Chicago had success, by the way, Chicago does not feel like a playoff team to me. They're just inconsistent.
Not even close.
I'm not saying I don't like Trubisky. I want to see him have success, but it's just so difficult with the roster and the coaching there. But their success runs through David Montgomery and Allen Robinson, and New Orleans just has one of the best. New Orleans pass rush too is one of the top in the league. Cam Jordan, Trey Hendrickson tied for second in sacks on the year this year. He had 13.5. He'll probably have at least 1 or 2 against Chicago. I just don't think Trubisky is a great decision maker, especially against a roster like this. Because I also think New Orleans has the best roster top to bottom in the league. I think it's just first opening whistle to final seconds. I think New Orleans just runs right through them.
Well, it's a season of giving. So, Aaron, I am extremely grateful that you're giving me double the spread in this game.
My birthday is in a month, so I mean, this is what we call my birthday gift, is when you bring me my Mountain Dew.
Right. All right, for sure. We'll see what happens. We'll see if New Orleans keeps running up the score up by 20 points, you know?
It'll happen. I'm ready.
Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh -6 in the ball game.
Excuse me. Well, can I go last for this one, please?
Absolutely. Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh -6 in this ball game. Cleveland goes into it without their head coach and play caller, Kevin Stefanski. I believe it's going to be their special teams coordinator calling plays in this game, which is awfully sus, just like Asher. So I'm taking Pittsburgh in this game, and I think they end up winning this game a little bit closer than the game really should be. I think it's 27-20, but I think Cleveland scores late to make it like that. I'm taking Pittsburgh, and I'm swallowing the points. Asher, let's go to you.
It's going to be close, just knowing how Pittsburgh is, and I'll never get a good playoff win like that. Like the first game against Cleveland, I wish we could play like that every single game. Just total dominance, like we think the Saints are going to do the Bears, but it's not going to be that close. I was impressed, though, I do want to say really quickly, Mason Rudolph with 3 touchdowns and almost led the comeback, and they just fell a little short on that 2-point conversion. He looked a lot better in that game. I do want to give a little credit to him. But yeah, I think Pittsburgh wins a close one. I think they can hit 30. I think Big Ben having a week of rest. I think TJ Watt having a week of rest will just reap so many benefits for that entire team. I think Claypool goes off. Juju is going to dance on the logo, and he's going to have 50 yards and a touchdown. I'll say it. Juju, I need Juju to go off. He's definitely capable of it, and he definitely backed it up the week before they lost to the Browns. But I think they win. I think they get 30, and I think Cleveland will find a way to score at least 24 with how because Mayfield is the definition of streaky. He had those 4 touchdowns against Tennessee, but sometimes he has a QBR of low 50s and has 2 picks in the first quarter. He's just so streaky, but some days he's just feeling dangerous, you know? Like I don't know how else to put it, but I think 30-24. I think Cleveland will find a way to make it a close game.
Aaron, I eagerly await your thoughts.
So here's the thing. I didn't pick a winner when I was making my little notes here. I was going to pick one after you all talked about it because I wanted to hear what you were going to say, and I kind of sort of forged my opinion around that slightly. But first off, I just want to say, Asher, I really appreciate how good of a loser you are, right? You're always so... it's just you're so humble about losing. Graceful, exactly.
Thank you.
You never seem super upset. And
he's used to it.
This is true. But I appreciate.
I'm going to be very graceful right now. I'm going to take the high road.
Are you going to?
You're going to see it in person right here. This is me being graceful.
I have the final score, 30-27, and the score going into the fourth quarter is going to be 27-20, Pittsburgh up. But here's what's going to happen: is the Cleveland Browns are going to make a touchdown. They're going to throw a touchdown, and then there's going to be 30 seconds left, and Pittsburgh's going to punt it back to them, and Cleveland hits a game-winning field goal to make it 30-27 for the Browns.
Would not be surprised at all.
For the Browns.
Goodness gracious, Asher, I would not be surprised if that happened. Man, you sound bitter already.
I'm not bitter. I'm just saying this is me being graceful, like I told you. I'm just putting it out on record. Like, I cannot be surprised because we lost to the Bengals this year. We lost to the Bengals. We lost to the We lost to the football team when they were just starting to get hot. Like our losses were not good. We scored 15 points against the Bills. Like I think the big thing is our injuries just piling up. Devin Bush out, Bud Dupree out, Joe Hayden not fully healthy right now. It's just unfortunate, and I think it'll be close. I do agree with you there, but I think because Cleveland always finds a way to make it close.
Yeah. So I mean, and I do agree. Like Big Ben with a week of rest, I do feel like that's one of the reasons that they lost to the Browns was because Big Ben wasn't playing. But I still think Cleveland is going to be riding that high, and Baker Mayfield has just got so much energy, and it's just going to transfer over to the wild card weekend. And I think it's going to be a very close game, but I think Cleveland's going to come away with it by 3.
Hey, we'll see. We'll see how well he protects that home of his. Progressive might need a new spokesman after this weekend.
Okay. Let me talk some sense into you guys. I really do not. I'm surprised I'm the most confident in Pittsburgh in this game. I think Pittsburgh wins. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up blowing Cleveland out. This is one of those games. I hope that's the case. It shouldn't have been this close the last time these two played. And Mason Rudolph kept this game close. It was a ball game.
That's what makes me worried. No, it should not have been this close, but it was.
Well, it's because Big Ben wasn't playing, though, I feel like. And I get that he's playing this week, but I still think that riding that high is going to keep Cleveland ahead by just that much.
Mm-hmm. Cleveland's the little brother, and I say the little brother gets defeated once again. I think Cleveland gets disappointed, and they're not going to have the offensive coordinator, and that's going to be the reason heading into next year. But and I do like what Baker said, and what Baker said about how this isn't what they expected to make the playoffs, and they got bigger fish to fry, and that's the right mentality to have. But I think their fish is going to get fried this week against Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh gets it done, and I think Aaron might need to be drug tested before the next show. But let's shift now. That is Squabble 66 for the week. We will tell you guys how we performed on our betting odds after this week. We'll see what's going on here. We'll see what our records are. All right, so Clemson had very high expectations heading into the college football playoff. And a lot of us wanted to see a really good upset in these playoff games, and at least we got one because Notre Dame got smashed.
I don't know about it if an upset is the right word because it was a 2v3.
6 games on the season. Dabo Swinney comes out and says they're 11th on his...
Okay, that's fair. That's true. I love that. You're right.
Dabo Swinney came out and said Ohio State would have been 11th on his ranking because no team that only plays 6 games can make the college football playoff. They adjusted records or the rules so that this team could play in the conference championship game in the Big Ten, and then they won the game and come to the playoffs. And James Skalski gets ejected early for targeting after getting ejected last year in the college football championship game against LSU. That's a huge loss for this defense, a captain for this defense. They were already down 7 points, though, and Justin Fields bounces off that hit like it's nothing. When that hit was delivered, I'm sitting here thinking broken ribs. I'm thinking because he's down the field to play, Skalski does go head first, and it's an iffy call, but I agree with the call because of the fact that Skalski was too engaged with his helmet. Fields is going down and he's spinning, but Skalski can't go head first in that moment. I think that was a really big part of this game. Ohio State won dominantly, and Clemson got embarrassed. Dabo Swinney post-game says he sticks with his predictions, but his statement. He's just sticking to his guns at this point. Let's flip the order. Let's go to Asher first. Asher, let's hear your thoughts on how Clemson got embarrassed.
I'm not even sure what thoughts I have. There is one that I do want to mention really quick, but Trevor Lawrence just got outplayed, I think, by Justin Fields. I did not expect that. I see Aaron pointing in an agreement arrow. I'm assuming that is.
No.
Okay. Yeah, because Aaron never agrees with me on this show. Never, ever.
Keep going, though.
But no, it's kind of hard just because of how the season has transpired with 6 games and the whole argument of, should Ohio State get into the playoffs? But they definitely earned their spot because everyone thought Clemson was going to do it this entire year. The whole Trevor Lawrence, the all offense, Dabo Swinney is great, the whole dynasty thing. And then Bama came in, took the 1 seed from them. And then Ohio State came in and just totally thrashed them in the semifinals, which I didn't see coming. But credit to Justin Fields and Ryan Day for a great game plan and great execution of that game plan. But my one thought is, what does this do to the draft seeding? Because I'm not saying it will happen, but what happens if Justin Fields goes out and beats Alabama? Does he become the new number 1 draft pick over Trevor Lawrence? Do you take a shot at him? I don't know.
I like the cojones that you bring to the table with that statement, because a lot of people are afraid to go away from Trevor Lawrence, and I am one of those people. I take Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence finally had an opportunity to see what life will be like in Jacksonville, getting harassed and losing in blowout fashion. So I think that was a good opportunity for him. A little bit that's so Raven flash to the future kind of deal. A little foreshadowing right there. But Trevor Lawrence still put up some numbers, and Trevor Lawrence didn't play the worst game ever. He still put up some numbers, and he still performed. And he didn't perform bad enough in my eyes to lose it. I think, first of all, Trey Sermon.
Oh my God, dude! Are you kidding me?
And obviously Najee Harris too, but Trey Sermon is so scary.
He's so good. 193 yards.
Better than Zeke.
Dude, okay. Can we not talk about the Cowboys, please? I get the Zeke went to Ohio State. I know, but can we keep this on a happier note?
But Trey Sermon
talk.
is one of those players. He plays like everybody wants to play. He's the big dude. He can catch. He can run. Nobody wants to hit him. Very physical, very intimidating, very powerful. He's going to be a very, very high draft pick for a running back.
Totally.
He's just legit, but I don't necessarily know if I agree on your Justin Fields take. I definitely think it's up for discussion, and I like the fact that you brought it up, because it is a discussion now at least.
Yeah, and to be clear, I'm not saying I would go one way or the other at this point, because two playoff games might not be enough of a sample size to use your number 1 pick on, because I just don't think that would make any sense. But I think GMs will definitely bring it up at watching this championship game, because everyone has Alabama, myself included, has Alabama winning by a lot. And so if GMs see Justin Fields just go out and absolutely torch Alabama's defense, they'll ask themselves and their head coaches, be like, hey, is this, like, what are we doing here? Do we need to make any adjustments? Before I forget, shout out to Devontae Smith for winning the Heisman, the first receiver to do it since Desmond Howard. I wanted him to win it, and I'm glad he did. He torched everyone this year. Absolute baller.
And his speech, I don't know if you guys saw it, but just talking about, for those of you who aren't the biggest, for all you kids who are not the biggest, all you kids who are not the fastest, you can do anything. And that's what it was about.
I'll have to go watch that. Yeah.
Very inspirational. Even for us sadists. Let's go to you, Aaron. How do you feel about that whole discussion, Fields versus Lawrence?
The more I'm looking at the numbers here, the more I take back my point, my aggressive point. Just because Justin Fields threw 6 touchdowns. Okay, I mean, not a lot of quarterbacks do that, especially ones that play 6 games in a season. And against the
college
Tigers.
football playoffs against.
And in the college football playoffs against.
There's an argument. There's an argument there. Justin Fields is putting up the numbers to justify it.
But at the same time, everybody's been paying more attention to Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence still threw for 400 yards. That's not a bad game at all. That's absolutely incredible. Just passing.
That's a good game.
It is a good game
by standards. 400 yards is very rare.
I mean, but he threw a 2-to-1 ratio of touchdowns interceptions. So it's just, I definitely think he could have played better, but at the same time, it wasn't his fault that the Clemson lost. I think he did most everything he could. I think Ohio State just came into this game with that just utmost passion and hatred for Dabo Swinney.
They were hungrier.
And wanted to prove him wrong by absolutely annihilating them on the field.
Well, gentlemen, it is time now to predict our scores. If it is able to be played on time, hopefully it will be, but there are COVID concerns currently about the college football championship game. Might be postponed, and that's a scary thought. Regardless, we're going to make our predictions. I think Trey Sermon, Najee Harris in this game go back and forth. I think Harris catches another body, and it's going to motivate Trey Sermon, jumping over defenders left and right.
Might have been played. That was so good.
It was incredible.
That was awesome.
You got to finish the run, but regardless, very, very impressive. And I say Bama wins. I'm going with the basic, but I think Ohio State keeps it close. 34-30, closer than a lot of people think, closer than the spread. The spread 7 points. That's what it opened as in this matchup. And I say 34-30 because I say Trey Sermon and Justin Fields propel Ohio State to a close loss to Alabama. Asher.
I think it'll be a weird game. I think it's all offense. I'm hoping for a shootout because both these offenses are so fun to watch. And Alabama said they might have a chance of getting Jalen Waddle back, because he got hurt first play of the season on that kickoff and just wrecked his ankle. And hopefully, if he can come back, that just adds so much dynamite. I think Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, not that entire lineup just meets Alabama standards. We just expect greatness out of the Crimson Tide every single year, and this team is no different. Like watching them, they remind me of last year's LSU team when Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson just went out and went undefeated and just blew everyone out of the water. But I think Alabama will pull away at the end, but Ohio State will get offense rolling. I have 42-32, my final score. I think Fields is able to have a couple touchdowns, but I think Alabama's just too much.
Fair assessment. I like it. Aaron.
So here's the thing, boys. Let
me lay it on you.
Let me be brutally honest with both of you, like I usually am. I hate both of these teams. Dislike them both powerfully.
Agreed.
Because they're both very good and they're both very annoying. I used to hate Ohio State a lot. I used to hate them more than any other team, including Alabama. But here's the thing. I'm a changed man, gentlemen. Over this past few years, I've developed this just loathing for the whole Roll Tide, and especially Nick Saban, with just his Aflac commercials are horrible. He's a horrible actor. He should not be in them. All he's doing is for that tiny little check that he doesn't even need. I say screw the Roll Tide. Ohio State takes it 35-24.
That's Cleveland over Pittsburgh.
24. I think that's a little.
Alabama's going to play the worst game that you've ever seen them play.
I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't be opposed to that. I just don't know what the odds of that are.
The Heisman winner does not matter. Devonta Smith, congratulations to you. You're an amazing athlete. Best wide receiver I've seen in college football in a long time. But I still hate Roll Tide.
Call it how you see it, Aaron. We mostly agree on the outcome of this game, except for Aaron. Shocker, the bold prediction guy on the show without question. Guys, we only have a minute. Let's real quick touch on women's basketball is still rolling. Wazoo women's basketball 6-1, men's basketball 8-1, but coming off of a loss in double overtime. Aaron has some things to say about it. Aaron, let's go to you.
Make your freaking free throws! Oh my lord!
Preach.
Dude, we shot 51% from the line.
They missed 17 free throws.
We missed 17 free throws. We needed 5 of those to
18.
win.
We missed 18.
17 for 30.
No, we missed 18. You're right.
19 for 37.
We needed 5 to win. We needed 5. Noah Williams missed a clutch free throw that would have sealed it in the first overtime. And Bonton, he played great that game. Don't get me wrong, but we need to make our free throws.
He made some really bad shots as usual, though. He forced a lot that game.
He did.
But he also did better. He made some threes. And also Noah Williams missed every single three-pointer. It was just an off week for Cougar basketball, and not having DJ Vlad, Ryan Rapp, and Chatfield, not having those big guys in the post because, Deshaun Jackson and Abagidi both fouled out, right? And that's our post presence gone. And I also realized why Tony Miller sits on the bench all game, because he's garbage. Holy crap. He's a senior, whatever, but he needs to stay on the bench. Stop getting COVID.
All right.
God.
Asher, let's go.
Hot takes. Oh, my goodness. Hot takes everywhere.
Asher, go.
Speaking of hot takes, we'll get it to later. But yeah, I think the women are projected to be a 9 seed in the ESPN tourney right now. Charlize Ledger, I know. Yep. ESPN had them at 9. I think I saw earlier today. Charlize Ledger-Walker, freshman of the week, 3rd time in a row. She leads the Pac-12 in scoring, and she's a freshman. That's unbelievable. We have a minute left. I'll get to my hot take. Knicks are the 5th best team in the league in NBA right now.
Whoa!
Yep. I'm riding the Julius Randle. Julius Randle's averaging 22, 11, and 7. I'm not sleeping on them. They're 4 and 3 right now.
On that note, I think that is it. That just defines this show, Unorthodox Sports.
Um,
I can't put them any higher. I just wanted to get it out there.
Wow.
I just wanted to get it out
Dude,
there.
we need to drug test Asher next time. That's crazier than all my single hot takes all
That will
show.
be socially distanced drug test facilitated to everyone on the show. Clearly, after some of the predictions this game, be careful with your betting odds, and I hope you didn't side with Aaron because you'll be paying for the due that
You're
he'll
gonna
be
be
purchasing.
glad when
me.
you win. That's gonna be a massive payday. I'm gonna enjoy my Mountain Dew on the show next week or in a couple weeks.
Thank you all for watching. As always, it is your home for Cougar and Seahawks coverage on YouTube and on KUGR, Unorthodox Sports.